Hello and welcome to the next video of my World's 2024 series, where we are covering supports. The last of these videos, then after that I'll have my predictions video out on Monday and Tuesday preview for Wednesday. We have some stats, not all of them like the other four roles. Frankly, I shouldn't have even put share percentage up there because really it doesn't make a damn difference, coming from the support really. But otherwise, these other stats I think are kind of telling of a support at least. So KDA, supports usually go in and die, but there are some that find a way to not die and still get here. So clearly, it's not necessarily always the case that the support needs to go in and die. So Buzio leads the way, 2.7 KDA. Corey JJ had a 2.3, so both LCS players there with solid KDAs. And then Curry of Brazil's Pain Gaming, 2.4 KDA. And keep in mind, this is all summer playoff stats. Lower end, Moham. And just a thing, in my 80 carry video, I said Moham had a 58% KP. That was wrong. It was 68%, which is still one of the lowest. And we'll, mention that in a second. But I was inaccurate in my bot lane video. Hung 1.2 and Crisp 1.2 KDAs each, where one assist count is half. These guys not really packing all that much of a punch. Their KDA half as much as Busio and Curry in the LPL, but also keep in mind the LPL is an aggressive brand of League of Legends. So high kills, and therefore the supports are going to have high deaths. KP, who's the most involved? Well, Isla, 75% for 100 Thieves. Woody, 80% for PSG. So 4 out of every 5 kills for PSG, Woody is involved in. So if you're seeing Woody on the Rift making roams happen, good chance he's going to find an angle to get a kill, or at least have some sort of involvement when you're watching PSG talent play. He's very important to their success. Isla, 3 out of every 4. And BA of Viking Esports as well, 76%, so 3 out of every 4. Lower end, Moham, 68%, so 1/2. And then we have Hung and Vista, both at 65%. So less than 2 out of every 3 kills these guys are involved in. So not as integral to their team's success, at least when it comes to kills. Their team is fighting around the rift and trying to make things happen elsewhere. At least in the case of LNG, what comes to mind is Weiwei with an 82% KP is the guy that's making things happen. ROI, who's dealing damage relative to the gold they're receiving in the support role? In summer regular season, we had a lot of 1-for-1 damage for gold supports going into this event. Those guys have kind of been weeded out. And, we have the highest being 0.94 for BA. That's because he played a couple Senna games, because Shogun's Senna stinks. Vista, 0.81, which is interesting because he's not all that involved, right? 64%. But when he is, he's dealing damage. He is whittling away at the enemy, the enemy health bar. So keep in mind that there's going to be a bit of poking coming out from Vista in their series for Soft Bangkok Gaming. And then Carria, which no surprise there, the T1 support is extremely aggressive, and his champion pool reflects that, and a way in which he can deal more damage. Lower end, Delight and Lahens, 0.6 and 0.54. Very passive supports. Not nearly as creative with picks to get damage. And then June of Fnatic, 0.56 return on investment. So almost double the amount of gold as he's putting. He's putting out half the amount of damage that he's receiving in gold. Share percentage, who's not hurting their team all that much when it comes to getting gold if you're looking at damage from your support. But like I've said before, the support role is multifaceted. In my opinion, there are no real limits to it. If you want to play a carry support and your team can work around that, that works. Facilitator, tank, enchanter, things of that nature. The options are endless. So, negative 5.4% for Carria. 5.5 for Alvaro, so very aggressive for him. And BA leads the way for Viking Esports, negative 4.8. The lower end of things, Lions, June, and Lahens, not dealing nearly as much damage as the gold they're receiving. I mean, in Lahen's case, it's negative 8% difference. So he is, buying other items and things like that. And like I said, the share percentage category was kind of a reach to even put on the board. But vision efficiency, I would say, is super important to a support. They're the ones with the item to freaking put out wards, right? They're the ones buying control wards. So how efficient are these guys? It's a reason why their vision scores, vision efficiency numbers are lower than the other roles, because they are placing simply that many wards. But who's doing it? Who's actually finding things with the wards? And you got to keep in mind too, Ashe. Some people may have played Ashe. We saw some Senna games, and that's going to affect things. But anybody can play it if they choose to. So lower end, Core JJ and Isla, 2.15, 2.09. And you have to wonder, are they, in the case of Core JJ, he does his homework. He knows where the guys are going to be. He's experienced, and he can anticipate and place wards in a good spot. Isla as well. Vista for the Japanese squad, 2.04. So another good run, good vision out of him as well. He's finding opportunities to find the enemy. Lower end of things, Elio of GAM Esports, 1.72. So not as efficient in finding enemies with his vision. He's placing wards and frankly wasting them by comparison. Lahen's also poor at warding, 1.65. And Carria, 1.7, also struggling in the warding department. Champion pools on a per game basis. This seems to puzzle people. Per game basis, Delight 9 and 16, one of the widest champion pools used during playoffs. Hung 6 and 11, and Elio 6 and 11. They were tied. BA 9 and 14 led the way. Widest champion pool utilized in playoffs going into the event. Lower end, Moham 5 and 16 for D plus Kia. Mako 5 and 16, and Crisp only 6 champions in 28 games used. So, only 6 champions used in 28 games played. Not a wide champion pool out of Weibo going into this event in all 5 of their roles. Very, very limited in their, their drafts are very meta. Very meta. So, let's rank these guys and then go over the champion pools. So, we got these, supports here. Let's start. We're going to go Lions 20th because, well, like I said about CEO, and I'll say about Lions, he's got to come into this event. He's got to play a better brand of League of Legends than he did at Worlds 2023, show some growth. He's a young player, and, that's kind of how we have to view it, right? These guys need to just, play well after being, they're younger players. It's going to happen. Elio, I'm going 19th. Poor vision. Decent champion pool, but we also have to keep in mind, I think that GAM's bot lane is the weakest point of them. And, there's decent supports here that we've seen at events in the past that I believe have, business being higher on the board. We're going Curry 18th, which is going to upset some Brazilian fans because they think he's the best support they've ever had. I've never really seen him play. Apparently because he played on T1 as a support. I don't even know if he played any games. That's supposed to mean something. Personally, I would not hang my hat on being a backup for one split on a team and then say that that's why he's the best support we've ever had. I think that'd be a reach. Now, if you utilize, say, he's good at the game, okay, but citing how he was on T1 as a substitute for a split is definitely a massive reach. So, 18th, we'll see how he does at this event. But these other guys we've seen, let's think for a second. Like even Vista in 17th, right? Vista has played at Worlds before for the LCK. So, how could you possibly say, well, Curry, he was a, T1 substitute for a split? And I'd be like, yeah, and Vista started Worlds games for an LCK team, so we can't be thinking that way. And I've seen Vista play League of Legends, so I know he's good, or at least good enough to be at this event. And hell, he's playing aggressive, he's efficient with his vision. And what do you want from a support? I want an aggressive support that gets vision. That's all I want. That's all I want. So that's good. Now, 16th is going to be Isla. Involved, don't get me wrong, 75%. He deserves his credit for that. Efficient vision. I just said things about aggressiveness, right? Isla has some of those traits. Isla is a lot older than who I have next, which is Alvaro in 15th. So, Alvaro, also a player that I would consider to be pretty aggressive, especially with his champion pool. Not necessarily cited here, 6 and 14 is definitely a good clip. But Alvaro is a player that I have followed for a little while now, even before he got into the LEC. I think he's super talented. I'm excited to see him at this event and to see him have potential for growth. So that's a thing. Alvaro and Isla are here. We're going to go next here with, We're going to go Bucio 14th. Another young player that I think has a ton of potential. I'm excited to see how Bucio does compared to how he did at MSI, because Masu Bucio really struggled. See if they can come to this event and have some strength and show some growth. And his champion pool, I mean, he's debuted on Azir support. So he's got some cojones. And in my opinion, that sort of willingness to play crazy shit in the support role is just a trait that not every support has. Not every support has it, and Bucio certainly has that to his advantage. So I have him 14th. Woody, we're going to go 13th. I mean, if he finds angles at 80% for PSG throughout this tournament on their run, I'm going to come away from this event with Woody higher in my ranking the next time PSG goes to MSI next year, or whatever the first tournament is, whatever the hell happens. Because Woody, I mean, if Woody is creating 4 out of every 5 kills for PSG, and PSG are just making things happen the way they are and just finishing well at this tournament, I think PSG have a chance to get to quarters in this tournament. I really do. I mean, we saw them at MSI show up in a big way. So if Woody is as integral to their success, apparently the MVP of the PCS finals, then I don't see why not. So that's a thing. 12th is June. Struggled in playoffs. Definitely struggled in playoffs. More Enchanter meta. I mean, for him, 0.56. Definitely less. Well, not Enchanter, but misspeak there. You know, more traditional support. He probably didn't even play Enchanters. I think it was mainly what most people are playing: Nautilus, Leona, Rel, Rakan, and shit like that. So that's not Enchanter at all. So June 12th, Noah and June coming down the split, not as coming down the, that's a split. Just coming down towards the end of the split, he wasn't as strong. So June's 12th. Coming into the LEC immediately, the hype was there for him for some people. I did not have him better than Mickey X or Trimby, but, you know, last time I said that about Trimby, somebody thought I was being paid by Trimby, but I just think what am I saying about picks? Things that players are willing to, the champion pool is a big part to the support role, in my opinion, and Trimby is somebody that, you know, uses his champion pool quite well. So, honestly, yeah, so 11th is Moham. I honestly probably could have I kind of forgot about him, I won't lie. Personally, I might have even put him at 13th, if I'm being honest. Moham, I think, is not very good. There's a reason why KDF benched him and then weren't playing him. D plus Kia are desperate for a shot caller, and so desperate that they're willing to downgrade from Kellen to Moham. Apparently that's a hot take because people have an issue with Kellen. But then yet they still can't name a dozen supports better on the spot because they know what they're saying is truly irrational, but they can't handle facing that fact. And, I mean, what do you expect out of irrational people? I guess that's on me. 10th, I'm going to go Hung. Not a big Hung guy. Not as involved. So we got a low KDA and a low KP. So you're not very involved and you're dying a lot. So you're probably dying before the fight takes place. And, I mean, 6 champions, 11 games is nice alongside Gala, but Hung definitely is the weakest point of LNG. We'll see how he does at this tournament, but to me, he's 10th. BA is 9th. Core is going to be 8th. So, BA is a world-class support. He comes to this event, he's not going to look out of place. I think Shogun and BA are going to rock some people's worlds, especially mine, because they're just that good at League of Legends. And I said it when I talked about Shogun and Supa. I can't wait to see that bot 2v2 take place. Hopefully it's a slugfest, and we'll see who comes out ahead. But BA, I think, could go to the LPL and be just fine. He probably won't, but if he did, he would be just fine. And at this tournament, I think he's not going to look bad at all. He's going to just do his job at a high level. Whether the team wins or loses is irrelevant. Just looking at the player themselves and their stat line, I mean, hell, great in KP, highest in ROI, so he's dealing a shit ton of damage, and he's got the widest champion pool here when it comes to usage in playoffs. So we take that and run with it. 8th is going to be Crisp. Crisp struggled down the stretch, in my opinion. Left a bit to be desired, and that's going to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I just write a number twice again? Yes, I did. Crisp is 7th, not 8th. Jesus Christ. Mickey is 6th. So, in my opinion, I kind of just put Mickey above the Eastern supports that kind of int their face off, and Mickey is better than that because he doesn't int his face off. And wide champion pool, stronger part of that bot lane duo, in my opinion, after Cap's the second most important player on the team of G2, and does a lot of work. I mean, yes, he's not leading in any stats, but he's also doing his job. And we watch him play the game. 3 out of every 4 kills, 75%. Mickey is important to that team. And when he goes to international events, he does well. And, apparently I'm not allowed to cite, the past international events, but at the same time, this is Worlds. And, in the hierarchy of things, level of play, you compare the LCK level of play to the LEC level of play, and you can only take that so far before you say, okay, how do these teams actually face each other going to the international event? Who wins? And last time, G2 beat Top Esports, so we have to factor that into things. 5th is On. A guy that ints a bit, for sure. On. Going into MSI, I had him first. Did I have him first or second? Might have had him first, because his champion pool got really wonky towards the end, and I really liked that. Not necessarily the case this time around. Now, don't get me wrong, 5 champions in 10 games. He didn't play that many games. BLG, not necessarily forced to play different stuff in the bot lane. But I'm going to have to, take note of that and mention how he's not playing a lot of crazy stuff in the bot lane. And that's part of why I really liked, what he had to offer. We have elite supports here above him. It's not like I put some joke up there above him. I mean, come on, let's be real here. Lehens is 4th. Playing, 73% KP, which is nice. Gen.g losing to HLE. I mean, they beat him a week before. Double Elam without a reset is a joke. But low in ROI because that's just the state of what champions he's playing. He's more traditional support. 1.65 vision efficiency is terrible. That is terrible. Lowest on the board. And that's not good out of a veteran support. He should be placing his wards more efficiently and not wasting them. That is not a good look. Well, shucks. So we got to this point, because Carrie is still on the board. And if you're new to the channel, Carria, in my opinion, is just a player that I just can't talk highly enough about. His champion pool is unmatched. His mechanical skill is unmatched. He is mechanically the best player in the world, in my opinion, even if he is at the support role. Now, with that in mind, T1s, the wheels have been falling off. Faker's hurt. Wheels are falling off. Keria, should I punish him for that? Not necessarily. But we see that orange number under VE. It's an ugly thing. Because supports need good vision. And in the case of Delight, he simply isn't struggling quite as much. Now, Delight's playing more of a traditional supportive role than Keria. But I'm going to have to put Keria third because, he's not very efficient with the vision. And it's no good. It's not going to work. And it's going to shock some people because in the Discord, I did hook Panda pretty good with the bait that I was going to put Keria first. There's countless messages on there with it. So that happens sometimes. Fishing. But Keria is capable of coming away from this event being first in that role. Without a doubt, An is in the same boat as Lahenz is as well. Hell, people saw Gen.g play at MSI and they came away thinking Lahenz is the best support in the world, so that's going to happen. There's potential for that. These players are capable of that. Delight second, Mako's first. I'm kind of thinking back farther than playoffs with Mako. I'm not going to lie. I'm thinking not only, Mako's career speaks for itself, but this summer alongside Jackie Love, he was leading in many different, excuse me. On a weekly LPL All-Pro basis, he was constantly in the lead in vision efficiency, kill participation, and things like that. They were very important to the team's success. Now, 75% KP, 3 out of every 4 kills. That's not a shock to me because of how strong Mako is. It wouldn't surprise me if he was the shot caller for the team. Solid ROI, 0.73, middle of the road. Delight leaning more heavily towards the traditional support, so not necessarily offering the more crazy picks, which is a thing. I will say, though, that he does have slightly better vision efficiency and a wider champion pool in terms of usage. 9 and 16 games. It's just that they're not necessarily showcasing any damage, which you don't need damage out of your support, but you'd like the option. I'm big on the support role giving us options, any role giving us options. If a player can do many different things, that's good. We're going to look at Keria's champion pool right now when we go in the champion pool section of this video. And I'm going to say, this is the example of what I'm talking about. So that's it for this part. Now on to that. Okay, so for the champion pool portion of the video, not many surprising picks, right? So we did top lane, and we actually had to make 2 columns. But the other 4 roles, not nearly as diverse. It's pretty straightforward what people are picking. In this case, we have a few. So Blitzcrank, picked by Delight, Lahenz, Vista, Moham. So everybody in the LCK but Keria picking Blitzcrank at some point during playoffs. And then Vista, Korean import in Japan. Then we have some unique picks. Karma, picked by Busio. I think he picked it twice, and the only person to pick Karma at all. As real Karma is the thing. Lee Sin, picked by Keria. Lux and, Keria also picked Lux. BA picked it as well. We think about how yesterday's video, Caitlyn only picked by Shogun and Guma. Caitlyn Lux, it's a combo. Ornn picked by Delight. I know Keria can play Ornn. I know other people can play Ornn, but Delight was the only one willing to pick it in playoffs. Keria also played Senna. So Senna, Keria, Isla, BA, Core JJ. Not every instance was there an AD carry alongside them. In the case of BA, Shogun played Nautilus both times. But I know Keria, when he played it, Nyla was played by Guma. I think that Yeon may have played Seraphine. And maybe Tobo. Oh, excuse me, I don't remember what Tobo played. Seraphine picked by Mako and Mickey X. Shen picked by Keria, and Zillion picked by Keria. So that means Keria picked a champion in the support role from each role. So top laner, Shen. Jungler, Lee Sin. Mid laner, Zillion. AD carry, Senna. In the support role, plus regular supports. The champion pool speaks for itself. I can't talk glowingly enough about it. I love players that are willing to try different things. Now, for instance, when you're playing against, whether win or loss, in the back of the mind of the enemy coaching staff, unless it went up in true flames, like if it was just a loss and it wasn't because of the pick, then we shouldn't be looking at win rate anyways. However, if it wasn't because of the pick and the pick was a real pick, now in the back of their mind they're like, well, shit, if they pick Lee Sin, owner might play Lee Sin, but Carrier might play Lee Sin too. Are we ready for that? Do we have an idea? Do we have an idea for if Senna gets, moved over to support and Anila gets picked at 80 carry? Are we ready for that? Are we ready in the instance that it becomes Shen support? Zeus has to play Shen to get that to happen. That is something that's not a flex. And Zillion also, I don't think Faker really plays Zillion. He probably has in his career. Hell, he's played everything, but hasn't played it much in the last several years. So that is a thing, but you catch my drift. Now, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.